Okay, so here's where we left off. And what we're going to do in this video is to establish a vertical interval for our text and images to give our layouts a little structure. So to do that, the first decision we need to make is the settings for the text we're going to read. Because if we like how this looks, we can use this decision to make other decisions. So the first thing we want to do is set the text size, and I'm going to go to Body, Basic Character Formats. And what we're looking for here is something big enough to read comfortably, but not so big that it doesn't give us any room to work and have some negative space and kind of play with our layout. So 23 looks pretty good. The other thing we're looking for is the leading. And so if we have lots of leading, this text block looks like stripes, and it actually looks like separate lines of text instead of one cohesive paragraph. So that's too much. And then if we go to the other extreme, now it's kind of hard to read because the text is kind of smushing into each other. So what we're looking for is like a nice, even gray, something kind of comfortable to read. Let's do 30. It's a little, 29. Okay, 29. Okay, so now how this works is we're going to use this decision, this 29-point leading, to make other decisions. And if we want to understand what leading is, it is basically the distance from the bottom of one line, called the baseline, to the bottom of the next. That now is spaced 29 points apart. Okay. So now we have our leading. The next thing we can do is look at the line length. So what we're looking for here is not so short that our eye keeps going to the next line like this, which is difficult to read, and not so long that your eye has to kind of jump all the way to the beginning to find the next line. Something kind of comfortable to read. It's all about, typesetting. A good guiding principle is to convey information and read. So if there's some kind of guides that you can use if you're just starting out, and one is to keep the text length between 45 and 75 characters. So if I highlight this here and I go Window, Info, I can see that this is 50 characters across, which is fine. And for me, it's more just like looking at it and reading it and seeing how it reads. All right, so now I have a size, leading, a line length. So now I'm going to establish this vertical interval. And to do that, I go Preferences, Grids. We want to start at the top of the page at 0. We want this increment to match our leading, right? This interval is going to determine our other interval. So we're going to set that to 29. And then we're going to set our view threshold to 5. The view threshold is just so that we can see what we're doing. I'm also going to turn off grids and back and hit OK. Now to see what we've just done, you go View, Guides and Grids, Show Baseline Grid. And now we can see this like interval throughout the page. And so what we're going to do in this document, I'll do a little before and after, is use this interval to place our text in the Y. And what it's going to do is there's going to be this kind of relationship. It's very much like music. There's going to be this kind of beat that holds it all together in space and creates a sense of cohesion. There's still like many places we can put the text, but not infinite places, and so it helps us make some decisions. We can also really see it if I copy this page here. So that's color grid, and once again, I'm just going to snap things to here. Okay, so no baseline with a baseline, giving it a lot more kind of cohesion. One other small thing we can do to make it look even slightly better is to hit Command A, which grabs all our text boxes, right click and go to text frame options and change our baseline from ascent to cap height. So before I do that, let me just zoom in on this. So what ascent is doing is looking through the entire character set, which you can find here, is looking through all these glyphs, all these individual characters, and finding the one that goes the highest in Y, and then aligning all the text to that moment. The problem is you don't really see it very often, so it looks like everything's just off. And so what I like to do is grab all this, right click, text frame options, baseline options, cap height. And now you'll see the text just sticking, especially the caps, sticking to that interval. Okay, so what we could do is go through this whole thing and kind of move everything to this new baseline, but I think the next thing we need to do, so we've established the Y, is to kind of deal with the X. And so I'm going to do that in the next video.